All right, guys, I'm getting ready. Just give me 1 or 2 minutes here while I get the link out everywhere. All right. All right, here we are. How is everybody doing today? Give just a second to get some other people in here. I don't want to focus on Bitcoin very much. Let me stop the music real quick. I don't want to focus on Bitcoin very much. I did a 90-second analysis on that already. You guys can feel free to check that out on my Twitter, or if you're in my Telegram group, you guys can go and check that out. Obviously, that's on the higher time frames. Something that I did notice that I'm going to go over just real quickly here on this 15-minute chart. First, if we take a look at the Ichimoku cloud, we're using the 50 EMA as support right now. Below us is the cloud and our Kijun-sen. Always a really good bid here on the Kijun-sen line. You can see in the past bidding these areas after finding support is always a solid bid. So I do have bids down here. I'm currently trying to catch a retrace, a little dip on this if I can to try and get in long. I think we possibly on the smaller time frames maybe might see one more leg up. So I'm trying to just scalp long on this. And then in the mid to long term, based on my 90-second analysis, that's basically where my deeper bids are for any kind of major retrace. Obviously, I have a pretty conservative stop to try and catch a pop on this, a little retrace, and then spot bids and stuff like that would be down here. But another thing that I noticed on this smaller 15-minute chart is it looks like we might be getting some kind of a fractal here. And I'll just highlight that real quick. It looks like we're doing something like this. And that would actually work out really perfectly if you draw a parallel channel here. That would actually work out pretty nicely. Okay, so we do have a potential bull flag forming here for this. So that would pretty much look like that. And we can measure this for targets, obviously, as you guys know. So we'd take our low, high, swing low down to here. And so 1-to-1 is right at about 56,315. So that would initially be my first target from this play that I'm in right now. Obviously, the 618, if we blow right through that, then I have total confidence that we'd probably be moving up a little bit further in the short term here, obviously on a small time frame. So a lot of this obviously is dependent on what could potentially happen with the Asia session. You guys know that I always try and pay attention to that. So I'm hoping that we retrace to hit some of my targets here. Let me look at where my other bids are. I've got, let's see, I've got bids all through here basically. My stop is at 54,275. So just below this last wick. Obviously, I want to stay in here, right? So taking a look at everything else, it's just below the Kijun line, okay? So that's pretty much what my thought is on that. So in my Telegram group earlier today, I was taking requests for altcoins. So let me actually go ahead and bring that up so I can start charting those for you guys. Did my ETH bids fill? Let me look. 2 of my ETH bids filled. Yeah, 2 of my ETH bids filled. So I've got one more bid at 25.90, and then I've got to stop at 25.75 on ETH. So taking a look at that, that's basically here, right? So I basically have my my last bid down here near the Keeganson and the 50 EMA, and then I've got to stop just below that down here at 25.75. So that's pretty much what that looks like. So if all of those bids filled, basically the same thing on Bitcoin here, my average entry would be, you know, something like this. Okay, that's basically what that would look like. That's basically what I'm going for, is like a 5-to-1 on this. You know, double tap, you know, resistance or whatever. That's basically what I'm going for. And if obviously if it breaks through that, you know, you let the winners run. So let's switch over to my watch list for the alts. Let's start going through these. I think one of the first ones I had was Litecoin. So we'll take a look at Litecoin real quick. A lot of these alts and stuff, I'll tell you right now, guys, a lot of these are going to look pretty similar to each other. Obviously, there's some alts that are more closely related to Bitcoin than others, but a lot of these are going to look pretty similar, especially on these smaller timeframes. I'll stick on these alts. I'll stick to like a 1 hour chart. That's normally a good basis for information here. This is looking really solid for Litecoin right now. There's a really nice buyback here. If you're looking to get in this, again, same thing. You want to look for, you know, just good levels of support. Obviously, the 200 here would be a good level of support. You've got the 50 and the 100 EMA crossing with a big cloud below us, which will now act as support around $250. So that's probably where I would be shooting to try and get in on this. If we take Ichimoku Cloud off and we just take a look at this price action here, this was our top. Where did I pull this from? Way down here. Okay. So this is our new top now. And this whole fib is kind of redundant now. So let's get a more recent fib measurement on here real quick. And this is pretty much what we got. So went into the golden pocket, dipped just below. It looks like maybe about 75%, 80% or so. Let's bring up the other line here. Thought I had it. Yeah, there we go. 75. So about 75%. Okay. In this big golden pocket here. And now we're coming back up. The indicators look pretty good so far. I mean, the MACD, it's just kind of, it's cluster fucked right now, but it is in bullish territory. So that is a good thing. I would be looking here for the 0.5 off of this major fib retracement to be holding here. If not golden pocket or down here, maybe around 240 would probably be a nice deeper target for a retest of a major support level, you know, that was previous resistance that we broke through. So that's all pretty much looking really good there. On the daily chart, really nice solid buyback here. Okay, this looks really clean here. It actually looks like we may be coming back into this ascending channel, which I need to fix. Okay, so this is really good. Litecoin and Ethereum, for the most part, have been pretty much outperforming Bitcoin, and the reason why is the dominance on Bitcoin is just so low right now. Just to take a quick look at that to show you what I mean. Everybody's basically saying that the dominance chart is a meme at this point. And for the most part, it kind of is. It's reached as low as 50, just a little bit below 50. So this is the lowest it's been in quite some time, since back here in 2018 and 2019 and such. So it is getting rather on the low side. I would be expecting some kind of pop on the dominance chart, but all of the indicators are looking very, very bearish right now. We haven't even managed to break into, you know, like the regular neutral territory of the RSI here. So there is that. Let's see. My chat window disappeared. Hold on. There we go. All right here. So let's take a look at VET. Oh man, this just took off like a rocket here now, didn't it? It looks like our volume is starting to die off though, but I mean, compared to some of our other volume, previous historical volume and stuff, this is looking a lot nicer. And in general, there's a lot more volume in the alts right now, just because of everything that's going on. We're kind of in the media stage right now of everything that's going on in the digital asset space. So that's kind of where we're at. We already had a perfect 382 and a touch of the 0.5. This definitely looks like it probably has a lot more room to be going up. The MACD had a pretty hard cross on this, but this is easily recoverable here on the daily time frame. 1 hour chart, it pretty much just looks like chop and consolidation to me. This is probably where bigger players are probably accumulating and stuff like that, or maybe taking profits if they were in from way down here. Looks like we got a couple opportunities to draw a few trend lines here. Okay. So far we've got something like this. And it looks like there might have been some relationship with this. So off of the bounce, the highest point of the bounce, we had a full 1-to-1 retracement, and actually a little past that. Maybe that's like the 1382 or something. So this is actually looking really good as long as this support level right here can hold at these wicks where we're at. I think we should be pretty good. If you're still looking to get in on this, our most immediate move, again, perfect tap of the 382. This is why the 382 is so important. This is why I'm always putting bids there. Just over and over again, guys, you can see as when I draw these fibs, that 382 is so important. And normally if you break down below that, normally you're going to get the golden pocket or more. So it is possible that, you see a golden pocket and maybe tap the bottom of this trend line a third time here. But in general, this is looking pretty good. I wouldn't really be aiming for that unless you start seeing a failure of this 382 level. You're welcome, John. You're welcome, Alexander. Let's see. Dot. The big dot. Okay, so looks like and start dragging some of these lines over. You guys can see that I don't really update any of my big alt charts or whatever. And that's because for the most part, I've been just focusing on trading Ethereum, especially as much as possible, and accumulating as much Ethereum as Bitcoin as I can. That's very important right now, especially while we've got some of these things like Bitcoin and Ethereum just kind of like topping out and finding a new range. That's very, very important. I do most of my alt hunting in the downtime during the bear markets. I've been buying alts for the last year, and now I'm just kind of slowly taking profits and keeping an eye on the ones that I have bags of. So this is showing very positive momentum here. Really good bullish volume on this. We're getting across here. Some kind of a retrace might be occurring. Obviously, again, that 382 level is super important here. You can see all these wicks. Do we have confluence with fib levels? Looks like we do. This Tenkan-sen line is going to keep moving upwards. So right around here, again, that 382 level really solid, right at about $31. I really wouldn't want to see a break below $32 though. Any like 1 hour or 4 hour closes below that, you could come in to test this range low again after that. But in general, this is still below the Ichimoku cloud on the higher time frames, like most things are right now. On the hour chart, it's probably retesting. It's coming in for a retest of the 50 EMA. It looks like 200 EMA was not able to hold on this for right now. So again here, Kijun-sen line, probably a really good bid if you're going to see a retracement off of this. On this 1 hour chart, maybe there's confluence with that 0.5. So somewhere in here, anywhere laddering buys between 382 and stuff like that. The reason why the reason why I'm setting targets for retracements, guys, is you hear this over and over, not only just from me, but from everybody that's been trading for a few cycles, that's more experienced, is you don't want to be FOMOing into these pumps. Okay, you guys want to be planning your entries, minimizing your risk, and the best way to do that is to be buying retests of support and resistance, and finding those levels with confluence and whatever indicators you use. By now, you guys are pretty familiar with the way that I like to do it with fib levels and Ichimoku and a couple, indicators, especially volume and stuff, looking for volume. That's one thing here on DOT that, isn't looking so hot right now. It could use some nice volume here. And again, coming into the Asia session, I always try to be very cautious. Sometimes they don't do anything. Sometimes they dump really hard. Sometimes they just buy a dip. So it's really been up in the air. They've kind of been all over the place lately. Let's move on to the next one. I know I'm going through these a little fast today. I've had a really busy day. So I want to keep this stream a little to the short side here. Looks like, how long have I been streaming so far? Maybe 20 minutes. It doesn't show me a time on OBS, so I can't really see it, but whatever. Let's move on to Link real quick. We're getting close to one of my bids on Bitcoin if the 50 EMA doesn't hold, which is nice. What did I say? Link? Yeah, Link. Let's do Link USD. Which one is this? Finance. Sure. Let's take this off. Clean up this chart just a little bit. So it looks like this major trend line, this really weird trend line that I have drawn, looks like that still was relevant through here on that drop. Major support still coming up. So these trend lines are probably, sometimes I leave them there. Those are kind of like meme lines at this point, but this is definitely looking like actually maybe some kind of potential bull flag that we have going on here. Something like this. Go ahead and delete this stuff. This minor support you can see here with these other big wicks that we've had, you can see that this actually turned into major support here. So $30 is actually a major support level now. Okay, so we are seeing a little bearish momentum coming into the market here. Not a whole bunch in terms of volume, but the MACD and everything, everything is pretty positive right now. Again, looking for retraces if you're not already in this, looking for that 382. Good confluence here, good level of volume in here, it looks like, right at $34. Ichimoku Cloud says that that's basically the top of the cloud. 50 and 200 EMA are actually coming in for a bullish cross, which is really good. 50 and the 100 have already crossed on the 1 hour chart. 4 hour chart, again, seeing the bottom of the cloud as resistance. So that's why I'm kind of anticipating like, hey, hitting that 200 EMA for a test again on the 4 hour chart here at $33, that would be a pretty solid entry. Maybe even getting the bottom of this channel one more time would be really sweet, down under $30. In general, Link, I think probably basically anything under $50 for Link in the long term, like really long term, I mean like year or two long term, is probably really cheap for Link in the really long term. I mean, this thing has just a fantastic history. If you look at the weekly chart, it's just a beauty. Link has always done really, really, really well. And it's looking like we actually have a new major level of demand right here. Okay. That would be a pretty solid demand zone. This is basically where you want to be buying. Anywhere from 18 to basically $25 or so, somewhere in here. Okay. Really good zone to be buying in here. Now, are we going to actually get something like that on these higher time frames here? It's possible, but that would be a pretty significant drop into this zone. Getting the 618 would be about $22. So the bottom of this, being about $20 seems like a pretty reasonable retrace target if this was going to be a long-term thing. We do have increasing price and decreasing RSI here, so a little bearish divergence going on the higher time frame. But all in all, this candle that we just had, pretty good bullish volume here. And again, the MACD is in bullish territory, so this is still looking really good. Like I said, just be mindful of this potential bull flag. These have been playing out pretty reliably this entire bull run. Almost every single time I've seen a bull flag, it's played out and broken to the upside. But just be careful, because eventually one of those is not going to break to the upside. These standard patterns, these classical patterns, especially in crypto, it's really only about 50%. So just be really careful with that. Let's see. Let's move on to, let's take a look at XRP real quick. Anybody that's followed me for a long time knows that I do not like XRP, but I will chart it for you guys anyway. Huge bullish cross in bearish territory here on XRP. Lately, this has been having major swings. People have been getting really wrecked in these retraces. And that's one reason why I don't really trade XRP. Without warning, XRP just does shit like this all the time. And it can really mess up your portfolio if you're not careful. So I don't really mess with XRP too much, but in general, this is looking pretty good here. Very minimal bearish divergence was on this, but that actually did end up playing out here. But in general, we were getting higher highs in price as well on the RSI from our last high here. So that's actually pretty good. This is just breaking above the 382, so you may have missed your chance on this one, sneaking in at around the 0.5 or the 618. If you had bids laddered here, then you definitely made it in on the retrace and you're in the profit right now. Good job if you caught that. Oops. So this was a perfect touch on the 4 hour or on the daily chart of our 50 EMA here. Let's bring it down to a 4 hour and see what we got going on. So that was basically testing support at our 200 EMA. Really nice there. It does look like maybe we could potentially be getting a incoming bullish cross, a TK cross for our MACD. That would be really good. Falling out of this cloud and then not falling below this level of support that we have here would be really good at about $1.30. So that would be a really good sign, having, like the dollar area, especially anything in the dollar area hold. That would be really good. I could definitely see XRP going way beyond that, to potentially $2 or $3, if that was to happen. The last time that XRP was this high, I know this for a fact, was way back here in 2018, the end of 2017. So seeing closes above this all-time high, and you're going to be getting XRP in price discovery, which is going to be really good. So that would be phenomenal if that happens. Just be wary of this. There's a lot of bearish divergence going on a lot of pairings on a lot of different time frames. Now, it doesn't show on the MACD, but it shows on the RSI, kind of conflicting signals there. So a lot of things on these higher time frames is kind of like, I would be grading it or classifying it as like, be bullish, but proceed with caution. Like, you don't want to let your guard down. Things don't go up forever. And if you ignore things like this, they will come back. This is the weekly chart, it could come back 2 or 3 weeks from now to really bite you in the ass. If you were buying up here near the top, it only goes up another 15, 20%. And then it, does another one of these moves here, like we saw with this. Okay. These are things that you have to be careful of and guard yourself against. So that's looking pretty good as well. Sol, I'm so bullish on all of the Sam coins, man. I mean, look at that. It's like the Nike. This thing looks like the Nike check mark. I mean, this is ridiculous here on the weekly chart. I don't even think, there's not even really that much data on the weekly chart. Everyone's crying for this thing to keep going up, but this thing has gone up a very, very large amount. $1 to $43. That's ridiculous, especially in that short of amount of time. This is basically right at the end of 2020. So in 1 year, this thing has just skyrocketed. Let's take a look down here at the 4-hour chart real quick. I got to bring up my chat. I don't even know if people are talking to me yet. What's going on here? There we go. NWC. I'm a huge holder of NWC. I bought like $3,000 of that stuff. I love NWC, and I will take a look at that. That for me, NWC is a long-term hold. Like I know that that's really like played out, and it's really like a niche kind of like cop-out thing to say. But when I say that I invest in altcoins and I don't really trade them, I mean that. I find coins and I find projects that I believe in and that I really like. I read the white papers, I do my due diligence, and I buy the shit out of them when no one else is interested in them. And I love that. So let me go ahead here and let's see. This is an old line. This is our most recent retrace here. So again, $38 is the 382.5 is that key Jensen line again. So these are really important levels, to be keeping an eye on, guys. That 200 EMA is going up into our golden pocket here. So all of these levels, if you want to be spot bidding this or laddering in dollar cost averaging while we're already in the midst of a major uptrend, trying to catch those extra gains, this is the way to be doing it, guys. Okay. Don't be staring at these little tiny 5-minute. If you stare at this chart all day long like this, you're going to drive yourself nuts. Okay. There are opportunities on these charts, no doubt. I'm not discounting that, but I mean, these charts will end up driving you crazy. There's so many things going on at so many points here. And you have to be really, really careful of these things. This was a fantastic breakout. No retest, by the way. So this is all FOMO. People buying the break of this 5-minute trend line. This is all FOMO. And this was a very solid level of support here that played out. So that's probably a pretty important level. But if you stare at these small time frame charts, you're just going to end up driving yourself crazy over time. It's just too much happening too soon. I try to play the slightly larger trends on the slightly higher time frames. We're reaching resistance right now. It's a solid level of resistance here, okay, that we're approaching right now, all these trend lines. Let me just draw a box here. Okay, here we go. This is resistance, okay, where we're at right now. This can be red. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So we're coming back into a major zone here. Obviously in this zone, there's other levels of support and resistance. Okay. I haven't really labeled any of these, so do that now real quick. Okay. Obviously this one is green for support. Okay. So that's pretty much where you stand right now on Sol. I really love all of the Sam coins, all the projects, Solana, Serum, all of that stuff. Serum's probably looking pretty close to about the same. Pretty similar. If we were to bring these charts up side by side. Okay. Serum on the left, Sol on the right. Pretty similar tops here and then retrace. Okay. These obviously, are going to be trading together. These are very closely paired together. Obviously, Sol tends to have a little more volume going on than Serum does. But all in all, these were great plays. You can see immediately that this candle is retracing. People are taking profits off of scalping this. Okay. That's why I don't really like playing on these smaller time frames like that, especially stuff that is really, really heavily traded on derivatives exchanges and stuff. It can get a little messy if you're looking at these really, really small time frames. Okay, so that's pretty much what those look like on the 1-hour charts. Okay, you can see the similarities here with this kind of double top and then a retrace, a small recovery. Okay, these trade very, very similarly, very close together. So if you're taking a position on one of these, you might as well take a position on the other one. That's basically what I'm trying to get at here. XRP I did. I'll take a look at Atom real quick. If I miss your request, I'm not going to be able to get to every single one of these guys. I'm sorry. I'm kind of limited on time today, but I did want to do some analysis with you guys and take some requests. So I am going to do a few of these. If I skipped over yours, just message me in the Telegram. Just write a comment on my most recent post, and I'll just go ahead and post charts on there in the Telegram later on after the live stream if I missed them and I have the time later. What'd I say, Adam? Really ranging in here. So you can see these range lines that I drew previously. I guess they're just horizontal lines. They go all the way over, but these lines still holding true. I drew these way back here, okay, when we were in this whole mess, okay? We've since retraced through the bottom of that, used it as resistance, and now we're breaking in and we're starting to reclaim some of these levels. So your next target should definitely be $23. A break above that, and then that's when we can start pushing back up here for all of these resistances, okay? Just make this black like the rest of them. Where do you recommend the best places to learn TA? The best places, there's not a best place to learn TA. The best thing that you can do to learn TA though is you got to get the books. You got to read. You got to read the books. There's a lot of really good books out there. I will make a separate area on my Google Drive for the members in my Telegram group. And release my whole library of books over there. I have like 200 different trading books. I haven't even read every single one of them. I've read a lot of them, probably well over 100 of them, but it's like a library collection that I have of over 200 books. If you guys are interested in that, just remind me by either messaging me in the Telegram or letting me know in the comments down below, okay? And I can go ahead and certainly get you guys stuff like that. So let's just take a fib retracement off this. This is pretty much going to be the same deal. Yeah, 3 taps of the 382 again. See, immediate retracement to the 382. These have been really easy bids, guys. All you got to do is be bidding those 382s, and it's really, really good scalps on all of this. All of these things give you hints, right? How do you trade this type of run? I'm literally showing you right now how to trade these runs. You just plan your entries. It's all about planning your entries. You don't want to FOMO into this. Like if you buy here, yeah, you know, you could get in and it could rip higher. But if it doesn't and it keeps going down and you opened up a full position right now and it goes down to the 382, depending on how big your account is and what kind of leverage you're using, that could liquidate you, or, you know, you'll be at a huge loss. You'll be really underwater. So that's why I always ladder my entries and I put my heavier bids further down and look for confluence. So that's the way that you trade these uptrends. Or if you're already holding the bags, you can literally just hold the bags. You don't even have to trade it if you don't want to. I mean, a lot of these things people have been accumulating for a long time, like well before any of this bull run, you know, and huge retail even started getting into this. Okay. Most people that were buying this and loading up on these bags were doing it back here or back here. Or, you know, back here when we first broke out, you know, retesting this major support and resistance level here at $8, you know, was a fantastic buy. It's gone up, you know, over 100% since then. So a lot of people that are holding these bags have been holding them for a while. If you're trying to just scalp and get in and out of trades, as a newer trader, I never recommend that. If you've got an account under $5,000, you shouldn't be using more than 5x leverage. And if you have under 2 years experience, at no point ever should you be using more, certainly than like 10x leverage max. You're just going to blow up your account. On one of these dips, you'll blow up your account. You gain to make a lot more, but in the long run, you're probably going to lose a lot more if you're an inexperienced trader, or like I said, if you have a smaller account. So this is looking pretty good. It looks like we've got confluence here again with our EMAs. 50 EMA, 100 and 200 EMA are crossing. That's really good. All of this looks really, really good right now. We're above the cloud on the 1 hour. We're trying so close to get above the cloud here on the 4-hour chart. So those that know how to trade Ichimoku cloud, this is the price actions in the cloud right now. You do not want to long this. As soon as this price action breaks out of the cloud, you have it looks like you're coming in right now or soon for a bullish TK cross. Price actions above the cloud. Chiku span, this gray line here, is above the price action. That is 3 out of 3 for going long in terms of Ichimoku rules, which means that this trend would continue up and you would be at least targeting, up here, this zone up here. Okay. I'll just draw a new box up here. Looks like we've got a resistance zone up here. Okay. That's where you'd want to be. That's where you'd want to be targeting up here. Okay. Let's go down, look at FTM. Very similar. So, okay, so this already had a breakout of the cloud, right? Okay, on this candle, buying the retrace here on the top of the cloud, this basically in here would have been your long. Like you'd be long right now on this. If you were solely trading by Ichimoku cloud, you're getting a bullish TK cross, price actions above the cloud, Chiku spans above the price action. You got to retrace to retest the cloud bullishly, and it's going up higher. So, laddering in, if you're working small time frames, that would be a ladder. This would be a ladder. Okay. This would probably be a ladder. If your account is smaller, your stop loss would probably be below this wick or maybe even this wick. Okay. Or that's your last bid and then your stop loss is here. And these aren't bad setups either. Okay. If both of these bids hit, if all 3 of these bids hit, right? Okay. Your average entry is going to be about here. If your stop loss is down here and this continues going up, you're looking at a 5-to-1 trade. If you're not crazy over leveraged, it's really only a 4%, loss for your stop loss. That's a fantastic setup, 20% upside. And that's not even double tapping this high. Okay. That's being conservative. If that's your target and that hits, you're looking at 26%. That's a fantastic 7-to-1 trade. Okay. This is how laddering, this is the power of laddering on these retraces. This is how you guys need to learn to be jumping in on these trades if you're not already in. Like if you miss this, you don't want to be buying this now when the volume is decreasing, and you're getting a little bit of bearish divergence here on the RSI on the 4-hour chart. Your MACD is already crossed bearishly here. Okay. You don't want to be buying the tippy top right here. You want to wait for this price to come back down. Who knows? Maybe you get lucky and you hit a previous major Kijinsen level, which is also the top of this cloud down here at 41 cents. That would be fantastic. Let me take a look at, I think I already did vet. That was one of the first ones I did. That's a repeat. Atom is a repeat. Uni, I will take a look at Uni. Do I not have it on here? Maybe it's on one of my other lists. All right, Uni USDT. Again, pretty much the same deal here. 4-hour chart, the Ichimoku on Uni, it doesn't really work that great. Still gives you good levels of support and resistance, but you can see here, there's a lot of confusion with this cloud, right? Red, green, red, green, red, green, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I think that overall, this is probably getting ready to really pick a direction here. And it looks like breaking out of this zone here on this 4-hour chart. This was previous resistance here. And this is obviously, you've got major support here. Okay, so that's kind of like your range. And breaking out of this, it looks like, couple retests in here. You certainly wouldn't want to fall below, this wick again. So, if you're getting long here, looking for confluence on these levels, this wick would be an entry. This support would be an entry. This would be an entry. The 382 would be an entry. And then, you'd probably have a stop loss, below that or something. So again, figure your average entry is here. even if your stop loss was here, it's not that bad because your potential upside is, well, you don't know how much your potential upside is because everything's in price discovery right now. That's why it's good to be a little cautious when you're just hopping into uptrends like this, when things are already in price discovery and it's forming new levels of support and resistance. You have to be really careful with that because you never know where the next level of actual resistance is going to be. You never know when some big ass market maker is, just going to come and dump on your ass and just ruin your day. So protect yourself by laddering in your entries if you're not already in the trades. And, you should be good for the most part. 1 hour chart, this pretty much just looks like it's consolidating here, right? Draw a couple trend lines. We don't know what's going on with this. We really only have one trend line. In that situation, sometimes doing something like this ends up being relevant, okay? Looks like this comes back to here, okay? Right through the price. So this was previously resistance, flipped it into support again here. Cheers from London. Thanks for all the content. Thanks, man. Those coins, just remind me of those. I might be able to get to those in my Telegram later. Let's move on to the next one. Oh man, MATIC. MATIC has just been ripping. I mean, this has just been absolutely crazy. There's just a frenzy about this. If you're trying to FOMO into this right now, that's a very, very dangerous thing to be doing in this kind of situation. The volume is extremely high here. If you weren't already long throughout this, like laddering in on these retraces and stuff throughout here, I would just say, hold off. You know what I mean? That's just really ridiculous. For all you know, you could be buying a top. This is clearly in price discovery here. Let's zoom out to a weekly chart. I mean, it's literally completely vertical. This is not the kind of thing that you want to be buying right now. Anybody that's buying this is definitely going to be at some serious risk. Like that's a highly risky trade if you're going long now. That's not something that you want to do on this. Retesting this major support, this is why I look at higher timeframes, guys. Okay, higher timeframes, they matter. This was your opportunity to get long. Okay, all of this zone here. Okay, this was where you wanted to be getting long. If you're getting long now, be careful. Okay, so this whole thing right here. Let me just delete that line. This whole thing right here is where you wanted to be getting long. All of this support, okay? We can just delete all of this. Those don't matter anymore. We know where the bottom is. We don't know where the top is. If this is the top, you're looking for at least here at 937 sats. So yeah, this is looking pretty insane right now. Let's come down to a 4 hour. I mean, everything is basically just straight up. This was in consolidation for so long. Like you had so much opportunity to get in, long on this. It kind of looks like I just call it the Doge formation. Doge has a huge rip. It does a huge retracement and then it just goes sideways for like a week. And then it pops off again. Right now it's popping off again. So if you weren't already in, this is probably the kind of thing that you want to be waiting on. This is extremely overbought right now on almost all time frames. Volume is extremely high. And what I would be watching for is our MACD down here. Okay, we'll make this full screen. If this MACD, if both lines, or the red line, doesn't break above this, and you just get a double tap or whatever, and the red line on the MACD doesn't cross above here, that's definitely, divergence. It's already forming a little bit here on your RSI. Again, I know people are like, oh, RSI, it's a meme or whatever. This actually, I think it's breaking above. Not yet. It's close. It's close. So you'll have to keep an eye on that. This is extremely risky if you're trying to just long this right now. Not a really smart thing to do. I wouldn't be doing that. I mean, there's a lot of pullback opportunities here. There already have been on these lower time frames. Every single time that this pops up, it retraces. Again, you know, even on these small guys, all you got to do is pull a fib. Look at that, 382.5. Okay, this isn't a coincidence. This happens all the time. This is trading. Okay, this one never hit. Somebody front ran this. Somebody that had a big opportunity and was really trying to rip this on leverage, front ran the 382 on this and it ripped. Okay, that's what that is. But yeah, pretty good opportunities there. Doge numbers, yeah, basically. Uniswap I already did, MATIC I already did. I've never even heard of BAX and VRA. I will do SXP though. SXP, that'll probably be the last one, and then I'll take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum one last time, and then we'll kind of go ahead and end the stream here. It's 4:30, so I do have some things I need to do. I actually need to start cooking dinner here in a little bit. Fantastic support on SXP on the 100 EMA here. It looks like the TK lines are kind of having trouble, but everything is still trading above the cloud here. There's not really any reason on the 15-minute chart to be bearish as of yet. We've got bullish volume coming in. RSI looks healthy. All this is good. We're getting a bearish cross on the MACD, so maybe a little bit of weakness here, especially seeing a red volume bar on the MACD. Seeing a red volume bar on the MACD when you've got a green candle happening is normally not a good sign. Especially if it closes like that. So this might be due for some maybe tiny little retrace here on the small time frame. It's 15 minutes, right? So, you know, laddering bids, 382, 618, potentially the 100 EMA, but again, now the price would be in the cloud here. So you'd have to be careful on that one. Let's look at the 1 hour chart. Oh, this is looking good. So this is definitely support now. It was support back here. I've had these lines drawn for quite some time now. So that was a really good retest of support on this. So maybe 200 EMA here on the 1 hour chart. And that would be pretty good. Everything in here would be looking good. If you measure this whole thing, I think it's a little deeper. 350, 330, $3, you know, mental numbers, you know. Bidding the mental numbers when there's this much volume in the market, it's not that bad of an idea. But like I said, you know, like if you saw this rally and you bought, you know, this candle here, you know, you basically got dunked on. You probably just exited at break even or at a loss. And if you didn't rebuy here, you missed out. So, you know, there's always a little retracement. Okay, there's always retracements and stuff. You just obviously need to be using stop losses so that if the retracement is not going to be a retracement and it's going to turn into a correction, and there is a difference, okay? This is a pullback, okay? This is called a pullback. This, like when you see this is a correction, okay? This whole structure, starting from here, this was a correction, okay? These little ones like this, that's just a pullback. These are the ones that you want to be buying. You know, if you were laddering in on the bottom here, you know, great. You rode it up, you bought again, you bought at support. You rode it up, you bought again at support. And that's what a lot of these bigger guys are doing when they're really talking about stacking sats. They're literally talking about stacking sats. And again, these pullbacks, they're not hard to spot. Again, you know, you whip out your trend lines. Okay. You can see bull flags, you know, all through this stuff. Okay. There's another one here. Might be breaking out of this one. Just bull flags everywhere on these lower time frames, okay? Things like this, just connect those trend lines. When you bring those down to a fifth, how come they disappeared? I guess 1 hour chart. When you bring them down to a lower time frame and you start getting breakouts, you know, from these trend lines and stuff that you have drawn, you know, those are good things. You know, you have this trend line drawn here, it retested. You could have bought on the close of this candle and caught this little dip up and it's still going, okay? So those are retraces and stuff that I'm talking about. Corrections are, you know, something full blown like this is a correction. This is just a little pullback, a little retrace. So small time frames, yeah, 382 is about the 350, and that lines up with the 50 and the 100 EMA. So I'm pretty sure that's about it. Let me go back and look at Bitcoin real quick. I'll just do a quick sum up on the smaller time frames here, and then I am going to have to go. I'm sorry I was kind of rushing through this today, guys, but sometimes that's the way things go. All right. Let me actually bring up. Got to move stuff around here on my other screen. Just give me 1 second here. All right, so my both of the longs that I'm in now right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum, my longs on the majors, they're basically just sitting at break even right now, basically waiting for confirmation if the retrace off of these is going to be sufficient, or if we're going to get deeper. And what I mean by that is this. So here on Bitcoin, let's just take this off. Okay, a lot of sideways movement through here, right? But there's also basically just a range that's going on here, okay? So on the small time frames is pretty much what I'm worried about. 15 minutes, right? Got a range here. Clearly defined range. And basically what I did was to make my entries, I basically took the extension tool and I'm trying to copy it from my other chart over here. It's on two separate things. Hold on a sec. Okay. So that's how I'm calculating targets for the upside for this. This was our last big retrace before, we really took off for the rest of the day today and all of that. So these would be my targets up here. Obviously, first 382, retapping resistance up here. That's where I would take half profit, half the position off the table, and then move my stop to entry. Going through that, my target is the 618. And then off of that, I would be looking for something like this to be re-entering on, or adding back to my long. Okay, something like this. Okay, that's what I would be doing. So I'm in a long now. This would be take profit 1, move stop to entry, which is around here. Let it ride, add back to the position if there's good support here, and then let it ride again and keep riding it up. That's how, once you get in on one of these waves, you can literally just keep stacking onto the position and laddering in and out. It's actually really fantastic. It's one of my favorite ways to be trading, especially in a bull market when you're trying to make extra gains. A lot of people get caught up in stuff like this. They buy one of these big ass green candles, and then this happens, and they get dunked on. You don't want to get dunked on, right? Like, it's just not. That's not a thing. Okay. So, I prefer to just like plan ahead. The only thing that's worrying me with this on the low time frames is there's just really, really a pretty significant lack of volume here. Okay. Really, really big lack of volume. So that's exactly why I've got entries laddered lower, and then my stop is below here or whatever. We fall below here, we're probably going to go deep. So and if you just measure this is just in a range here, so this isn't going to give you that much information. When you're in this kind of situation and you're trying to use this fib extension tool, measuring like this, I'm using this as an example because this is wrong. Okay, you need to start from the beginning of the impulse and measure to the top of the impulse, and then down. Okay, and that's how you're projecting upside from this. Okay, there's not really too great of a way to be projecting downside unless you use your actual fib retracement tool and you're just pulling from here. Okay, and that's what you want. We already tapped the 382 twice. Again, that 382, I'm telling you, every single time, it's just an extremely important level to be hitting. There's lots of confluence here with our key Jensen line. Again, this is where everybody likes to be bidding. Our key Jensen line is moving up, so my bids now are a little higher. I think maybe these are going into profit soon. Let's look at ETH. If Ethereum can break back above our Tenkan-sen line here, it's going to be in really, really, really good shape. And I'm pretty sure that on this time frame, downside I projected like this. And this hit our golden pocket, okay? Our high, our first retracement, and then our rebound, we hit the golden pocket here. So that's actually where my second bid was at this 618. This filled and lowered my average entry. So now this position is currently in profit. So my first take profit level off of this on this very low time frame. Again, this is a scalp unless, I can let the winners run here. My first target, I want to see 618. I want to see 2650. That's probably when I would move my stop to break even and let this ride. Okay. Seeing something like this is really what I want to see. I want to see this go for another rip and start, breaking over $2,700, especially. So that's probably going to be my second target for that. That's pretty much where I'm going to leave it today, guys. I really appreciate all of you guys joining in. All of those of you from Flying Cat Signals, from Elevate Trading, from my Discord, from not my Discord, from my Telegram group, Twitter, all of that good stuff. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you. Let me know down in the comments below how you liked everything. I'm going to try and do these streams once a week. Again, Tuesday is probably the day. I've got a little extra time on Tuesdays that I can do these streams for you guys. So I am planning on doing that more often and getting more into a lot of these altcoins and stuff. I'm really excited. I am almost done building my website. And then after that, I'm going to start planning out and actually designing the newsletter and everything that I'm going to be producing. I'm doing all the work, all the design work myself. And I'm really excited for that coming out because as these markets start reversing, we're really going to start seeing once we do hit a top, whether it's, in a month or two or, 5 or 6 months or whatever, eventually once the markets on the macro timeframes do start flipping over, that's when I go into full on research mode, learning mode, catching up on stuff, finding out which developers are worth their salt, which companies are going to stick around, which coins are going to exit scam, which ones are going to go to zero, which ones are going to get delisted. For me, that's the more fun of the market. I like the pure devastation of the market because when that's happening, that's when I'm doing all my research on a lot of these better coins that have been around for a while or that have already grown such a really large reputation that they're going to do well in the future, no matter what their price goes down to. And that's going to be a key component into the newsletter that I'm going to be releasing soon. The pricing, I haven't decided on it yet. It's probably going to be pretty cheap though. And once a month, I'm going to have an entire prospectus of a project or coin or, DeFi, Uniswap, whatever. Something that I researched very heavily, vetted myself, looked into the developers, looked into their social medias, looked into how much funding they have, how much capital they raised, what the white paper is looking like, what their roadmaps are looking like, and stuff like that. And really starting to vet a lot of these lesser known tokens and basically just writing up a prospectus on them. And that'll be once a month in the newsletter is basically an entire prospectus of what my thoughts are on particular assets in the space. So going into a bear market when these things really, all of these altcoins, they're going up hundreds of percent, 200, 1,000%. That's not going to last forever. A lot of those are going to go zero. Okay. They're going to retrace like 90% or 110%, of the way. Like a lot of these new coins that came out this year and they're just riding the wave, they're going to go right back to where they got released from. I've seen this plenty of times. I've been through plenty of cycles to tell you that yes, that is going to happen. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. No one knows where the top of the market is. The market could have already topped for all we know. And on the larger timeframes on Bitcoin, we're actually, let me delete this. and go to this. For all we know, on the larger time frames on Bitcoin, we're going to hit the bottom of this channel and fucking reject. And that's the end of it. You know, like we don't really know. You know, like that could also be, that would be like a worst case scenario is we see something like this. Okay. And then we're doing a 1-to-1 retracement off of this and we're going down to 40K. That's absolutely possible. That would cause a major sell-off. That would cause institutions and hedge funds to probably be taking profits. Elon Musk already tested the liquidity. So the liquidity is definitely there in the market. And with that much supply coming back onto exchanges, coming back into the market and stuff, with the supply being so low, once supply is released back into the market, the price starts stabilizing and starts going down. Basic supply and demand, right? So when you've got more supply, the price goes down. Less supply, the price goes up. Since the beginning of 2020, it's just been, you know, the supply has just been disappearing. The exchanges are running out of supply. So that's something that I've been really watching for, because eventually there's not going to be too many Bitcoins left to buy, which means that the institutions are kind of stuck with it. And if the price just kind of levels off, or miners start taking profits, and we start seeing a pretty significant reduction in price, that would be when I would expect hedge funds and institutions and big whales and stuff to be pulling profits. That would obviously cause, you know, something like this to get liquidated. We would just see a massive, you know, long squeeze. This is liquidity right now. I'll go over this real quickly before I end the stream. This is all the liquidity for liquidations on Binance right now. So there are not very many shorts above us. Okay, there's not too many people that are interested in shorting this right now. I think that is going to change. Normally, when you start seeing stuff like this, especially when these big gaps in here in price, once they start filling in with other people's orders and other people's positions, as people start taking longs out to try and catch the run, or they're FOMOing in on high leverage and stuff, when you see stuff like that, what ends up happening is it just gives the bears a bigger opportunity to be nuking on the longers. And when all these gaps start filling in and you just have a massive wall of over leveraged people to the downside, that downside turns into the path of least resistance, right? So right now there's a lot of resistance above us, right? There's not very many big short orders to be liquidating to help the price propel it further upward, but there's a lot of liquidity below us. I mean, even down just to like 58K, there's quite a bit in here. You know, anything lower than that, once you start bringing up this scale to tier 3, you know, this is just a big block of liquidity that we have below us, with not nearly as much liquidity above us. All of this down here, you know, people have been long since this. They've caught this whole rip. You know, as they start taking profits and there's less people shorting the market, the price will gravitate towards the path of least resistance, which is where the long liquidations are. That's where the liquidity is. So just keep that in mind. These charts, you can check down in the description below. It's called highblockcapital.com. I highly recommend signing up and using this. There's also a couple tutorials that I did on my YouTube. You guys can check those out after the stream if you want, of tutorials on how to use this entire platform. So make sure that you guys check that out. Besides that, I will see you guys on Thursday for another tutorial video that I'm going to have on my YouTube. Make sure that you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the Telegram and on Thursday. I hope you guys all have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning in, and happy trading.